Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Pradeep Kumar, welcome to Savvy Broadcasting Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here this wonderful Saturday afternoon. We're going to talk about something I don't think we brought on the show before, and that is talking about how to restore your sleep cycle, how to get a good night's sleep, which Americans, more than anyone probably on the planet, Americans are really, really bad at doing. And so you're going to really help our audience achieve that restful night's sleep that we also need to keep our bodies running efficiently. But before we go there, I'd like you to share a little bit about your practice, the art of self-healing, and how you came to writing your book. How did this all come about for you?
All right. So first of all, namaste and good afternoon to you, Christina. Thank you for having me here today. And it is a pleasure for me to share about the book that me and my wife have written together. And so the most important thing, as I was mentioning to you earlier as well, is to basically have a ritual for getting better sleep.
Yeah.
And one of the major contributors to that is that we need to maintain a consistent wake up and sleep time. It has to be regular, regardless of the day of the week. And we do not differentiate that. And it has to be there 7 days of the week. And one of the things that I normally recommend to people is that when you wake up early in the morning, it is good to practice certain rituals. For example, you can begin by practicing, let's say, acceptance. You can do...
What does that look like when you say practice acceptance? Are you saying affirmations? What does it look like?
No, acceptance in the sense that we are often offended, or we dislike the fact that when things actually come on to us, we really get jittery about it. We get, pretty much excited about the situation. But the accepting whatever it is that life throws at you is a way how you can regulate that, the way you can really, mold yourself into getting into realities of situations.
Instead of pushing against it, which makes it feel that much bigger. Yeah,
that is right. So that takes a lot of effort, and it keeps you tiring, because every time you think that, this is something I don't want. So we are not somebody who's special, that we get to choose what we want and what we don't want. It is just life throwing situations at you.
Yeah.
And so in order to ground ourselves to accepting to that reality is something where you're easing into your day.
Got it. Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we practice something called gratitude, where, we write a gratitude journal every morning. So for the things, even the point of you waking up to this day in itself is a big deal. Like, there are so many people who don't wake up the same way that we do, because many of them pass on at some point in the night, who knows? But we getting to wake up in the morning in itself is a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we need to appreciate that. And we need to be thankful for everybody who has contributed to our growth, to our existence.
Yeah.
And also then you go on to practice certain affirmations, and which is very important. And you can then go on to do your grounding meditation, where you appreciate every little fingernail to your finger, and to your nerves, to the blood flow which is happening within. You need to appreciate that, and you need to be glad that you are able to do that. It is very interesting that it is it is a fact that, when you talk to yourself, when you talk to your body, to each and every organ, it creates certain energy within yourself. It creates that vitality. And it is very important that you communicate, because our heart never stops beating the day we are born until the day we die. And the amount of work that particular organ in itself does. I mean, we shouldn't forget about the other organs as well, like your liver, your lungs, everything.
Yeah. Now, can I ask you something? Because I know what people are going to be saying. They're going to say, this sounds great, but I have babies screaming in the next room. I got to go make them. So can this be incorporated while you start your day, or what does it look like?
Exactly. It should be a practice which should be conducted throughout the day. It is not only at one period of time. Because it is something, this is a lot of work, right? Like you rightly pointed out. But that is why we spread across the day, so that you have something to do. You keep on appreciating yourself. You, in the sense, your own body, including your organs, including everything which is functioning, getting you up, standing, helping you take care of that baby who is crying on the other room. It is just your entire body which acts as one single unit. And you need to be appreciative of that. And that is something that we need to start our day with, and we need to continue our day with, so that at the end of the day, it helps you sleep much better. And so it is so important.
Yeah. And you mentioned something else just before we got our conversation going, how important it is to have an ongoing everyday same schedule, because our body doesn't differentiate. Oh, it's Saturday, we get to sleep in. It totally screws up our whole cycle. What is your suggestions? Because I know this is something that comes up for me. If, during the week I have to get up to take the kids to school, Saturday, Sunday is the only time they can sit in front of there, watch the cartoons. I finally get a break, I can sleep in. What would you say to them when they say that?
So being consistent about our habits are very, very important, because like you pointed out, the body doesn't understand between Monday and Friday or Saturday. To the body, it is all the same. So we need to actually train our body according to the conditions, what we would like to get out of it. And so maintaining that throughout the course of the day, through the week, and through the month, and through the year is very important. And so we cannot break the cycle in between, because once we break the cycle, for the body to get back to its normalcy takes at least 21 days. And so once we try to break the cycle and think that, okay, today was a mistake, okay, let me get it right tomorrow, doesn't happen. Because it takes the body some amount of time to get back into the flow once again. And that is why it is always recommended, any new practice that you put into your system, it takes 21 days for the body to get used to it. Even if you are exercising. For example, you just start going to the gym from tomorrow morning. That doesn't mean that your body immediately responds to it. It takes a while for it to get into that rhythm. And that is why the training is so important. The conditioning is so important, so that we cannot break the cycle as and when we please.
You know what I'm wondering, Pradeep, is a lot of parents and just individuals, period, whether you have kids or not, will say, well, I have such a long week, meaning so many activities. What do you think is the biggest myth that people say, well, I just can't go to bed earlier? Is that not true? Or are we filling our days maybe to become more conscious of how we fill our days so that we can get on a routine? Because I think I hear from parents specifically, with all the kids have to do homework, then dinner, I just can't go to bed earlier. So I can't get on a schedule. What would you tell them?
Right. So it is very important. Actually, the reason I talk so much about schedule and timing is because according to the ancient texts in India, one of which is called as the Upanishads, and that is what we have based our book on, from the learnings from those texts. So there are certain, when we talk about sleeping, we talk about hours in the West, whereas Eastern philosophies don't do that. They
Mm.
talk about sleep units. So what is a sleep unit? So when you sleep between the hours of 9 p.m. to 12 a.m., for every hour of sleep, you get 2 units.
Hmm.
So between 9 p.m. to 12 a.m., you have already taken 6 units. From 12 a.m. to 3 a.m., for every hour of sleep, you get 1 unit. So there, right between 9 to 3, you have already had 9 units of sleep. And from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., you have half a unit for every hour of sleep. So after 6 a.m., any amount of sleep you go through, it is completely useless. It doesn't bear any fruit.
How
For
come? How, is
uh,
this has to do with the way the sun operates or the way that? Yeah.
it is
Uh-huh.
basically how many units of sleep you get. You feel so refreshed, and
Uh-huh.
you can try this yourself.
Uh-huh.
Tonight, you try going to sleep at 9 p.m. And then by 3 a.m., if you even if you don't have the alarm, or even if you have an alarm to help you wake up, you will feel so refreshed. You
Hmm.
will never feel tired, because I've been practicing it for over 15 years. I wake up at 3 a.m. every single day.
Wow.
I sleep at 9 p.m. no matter what. Even if the world is coming to an end, I go to sleep. That's it. And I sleep like a baby.
Wow.
And the reason I am able to wake up at 3 a.m., I'm able to accomplish so much through the course of the day. And so right now, while we are having the interview, I'm almost at 12 hours since I woke up this morning.
Hmm.
And so this helps me accomplish so much, and helps me attain so much. You will never, ever hear me saying I don't have time,
Hmm.
because that is something I always have. I have enough of time. And 24 hours is a blessing to me, because I'm able to accomplish so much during the course of the time. And
Wow.
yeah, so it is just about practice. It is just about discipline. When you bring in that kind of discipline into your life, wonders starts happening. And you will see with the techniques that we are talking about, if you start practicing all of those things,
Hmm.
you will see that your efficiency just triples, not even doubles, it just triples.
Hmm.
And you will see you're able to cover so many things with ease, and you'll be so happy doing it. You're not even frustrated.
Hmm.
You're never angry. You're never anxious. You're never stressed.
Well, you know what's amazing to me, and I think it's the way our culture is set, is the kind of work, work, work mentality. That sleep is the side thing. Maybe a little bit of that, but I think the culture is so steeped in work, 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 work
Yeah.
that often, and I'm talking to a lot of my friends here. Oh well, my kids have a swim meet at 7 p.m. and then we go home and have dinner at 8. You really shouldn't be eating that late anyway.
No.
And then you go to bed at midnight. So I think what some people will say listening in, oh, that sounds great and wonderful, but how will I do all of my activities like the kids swim meet or my extra work? I get out of work at 7. I think what you're talking about here is discipline, and that you restructure your life what's best for you, and not look at
Absolutely.
all the activities outside and what other people are
Yeah.
doing.
Exactly. All of these activities can be done, and that's what I'm stressing on.
Mhm.
These activities can be attained, it can be achieved, but with bliss, and joy, and happiness.
Mhm.
In addition to that, isn't that wonderful? Because we have all the time in the world. Who says we don't have time? It's just that we are pretending we really don't know how to manage our time.
Mm.
And but the fact of the matter is, we definitely do have the ability to do that, and that is the wonder of being a human being.
Mm.
Whereas animals don't have the ability to condition themselves, we do.
Yeah.
And then throwing it away is just a shame. And so we can do these things, because I was one of these believers in the beginning.
Mm.
I didn't turn out to be all this all of a sudden one morning. It took
Mm.
me years. It took me years to condition myself. It took me years to understand I learned, and
Mm.
then when it started working for me, I said, oh my God, why didn't I think of this before? Why would I mean, how many hours have I wasted simply by sleeping without any meaning?
Mm.
And so 1/3 of our life goes by sleeping, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
We think that we become tired just because we are not able to sleep so much. That is wrong completely.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, as a live example sitting right in front of you, I'm claiming that today, that it is not necessary for you to count the hours. That is why I
Mm.
just gave you the example about units. Think of it that way. And when you start experiencing that, then you really think, in most of the meditation centers, wherever you go across the world, if it is something which is Eastern based, you will see that their bedtime is always 9:30.
Yeah.
9:30 at night, the lights go off. And
Mm.
then their wake up is at 4 a.m., usually in most meditation centers.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they have done that is because they follow this and they know it has worked for centuries, for millennia. It
Mm.
is not a new concept, what we are talking here. It is something that has been practiced by wisdom traditions for thousands and thousands of years.
Well,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
I was going to say, this is fascinating. When I started, because I signed up for a mentor program where we had to start up early in the morning, 6:30,
yeah,
meditation and a little bit of, study work. And what was
yeah,
interesting is I got myself up even earlier, went to bed by 10:30, which is early for me.
yeah,
And we did this for 6 months. And it got me on a point where I got so much more work done because I was generally getting up
there
at
you go.
8
Absolutely.
a.m.
Yeah,
generally past.
yeah,
And I did this 7 days a week because once I did it during the week and it became so easy, I did it on a Saturday and Sunday. And the
yeah,
only difficulty was the family around me saying, "What's wrong with you? We want to do things late and go to dinner at 7 or 8." And then I said, "No, I have to go home and go to bed because I have to get up to do my
yeah,
meditation and whatever." And they looked at me like I was crazy, but I felt so much better. So I can totally see what you're saying here
yeah,
but I didn't know
absolutely.
about the units and
Right.
now talk to me in your book. You talk about how emotions play such a big part in your sleep. Can you go into that? How important that is? And
Yeah,
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 I'd love to hear that.
absolutely. Because emotions are a part and parcel of humans'
Mm.
entity in itself. And, emotions such as anger,
Mm.
pride, envy, and things like that actually crush us completely. And so it is very important that we control our emotions. How do we control our emotions? One of the mother of emotions is something which is called as desire. The desire is what actually prompts us to do all these crazy things. And when a desirable action doesn't bring in fruit,
Mm.
then you go into the emotion of anger, because how come that didn't happen to me? And so when that anger really multiplies, then that turns into something called greed,
Mm.
because you want more of that. Once it happens, then you think, okay, once it has happened, so why can't it happen again? So then we start getting into that emotion of greed.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden you have the greed in, and then you see somebody else having something which you don't have, but you want it, then that turns into envy, you know.
Mm.
And so these are certain emotions which we can consciously identify, we can understand, and we can control them, and we can stay away from them, because once you're conscious about what is happening around you,
Mhm.
then you choose whether to continue with that or to discontinue. That is a choice that we all make. There
Mm.
is always a yes and a no right in front of us, but
Yeah.
what we choose is very critical. And
Wow.
so, yeah, and trust me, these emotions play so much into our conditioning that in turn it can ruin your sleep. And it
Mm.
can very easily do that without even you realizing what's happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important that we control it and we regulate it and we understand what is required, what is needed, and then behave accordingly. It is all within our own ability to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I totally get you there. And I think for me, what's been a big help for me is when you journal, you begin to get a recognition of how your inner mind is playing and what kind of emotions or thoughts are controlling your everyday
Absolutely.
actions, but also the emotions that lead up to that
Yeah.
descending, not so good emotional pattern. I'd love to go and chat with you much longer, but we need to come to an end. I want to find out how everyone can get a copy of Sleep Code, Renew Your Lifestyle, Record Your Mind, and Restore Your Sleep. How can they do that and find out more about you? How can they do that?
They can go to our website at www.artofselfhealing.ca, and right now they can actually get it for free out there. They can also go on to Amazon. You can find our audiobook there. You can find our paperback copies there. And as well as when you go to our website, you can also download our audiobook as well. Right now, we are giving it away for free.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can definitely grab a copy out there and learn more about the work that we do. And there is so much more than just a book. There you will learn a lot about how to approach life in a profound way. And so that is what we want to get the word out to the world today, is that with so much of stress and tensions happening in the world, we all need that break. We all deserve that. And there is a way that you can achieve that. That is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. You might not be able to affect what happens in the world, but you can truly affect your response to it. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just have to thank you again, Pradeep Kumar, for coming to Savvy Broadcasting and sharing your great wisdom today. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.